think we gotta see this in game, but it looks like it proc 3 times in this duration of like quick 9-second video. After using his active skill, this guy procs it once, procs it twice, procs it 3 times before using his active skill. Yo! What? You guys have no idea how busted that is. Yeah, I am definitely scared now. Alright. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Moose Game here, and today I was just actually waking up to do some double time on my Ties of War KVK to get some extra march speed for the rest of the KVK. And I just found out that the Rise of Kingdoms official Facebook channel actually just released the full kit of Tzu Prime and Ivar. So I was like, hey, I gotta beat everyone to this. Let's just go ahead and take a look at it. And for your reference, I actually just turned on the recording right after seeing that they were released. So I actually haven't taken a look at their kit. So let's just go ahead and take a look at it. Sun Tzu and the new infantry rally commander, I'm assuming, Ivar. Yeah, infantry conquering defense commander. He looks like Ragnar Prime, by the way. He looks like exactly like Ragnar Prime, but let's just go ahead and take a look at it, guys. Sun Tzu Prime. All right, commander skill, flu formation, rage requirement of 900. Wait, what? This guy has a 900 rage requirement. Yo, you guys have no idea how busted this is. That means that everything that we're counting after this, like all the damage vector as well as the AoE damage, because we know that this was doing AoE damage, is practically 11.11111% stronger than other things. This is why Gorgo is actually really, really busted, because her rage requirement is actually lower than everyone else. And when she's used in garrison, she would always fire off her active skill before everyone else. It also helps you get the rage cycle faster than the secondary commander. So 900 rage requirement. You guys have no idea how strong that is. But yeah, that is busted. But let's just go ahead and take a look at it. This commander's troop immediately gains military stage effect for 5 seconds and deals smite damage to target troops. Damage factor of 3000. Okay, so this guy actually does not have to be expertise to get the full damage output of 3000. We wish we actually took a look at when we actually took a look at the trailer. Military stage. When dealing smite damage to enemy troops, this commander's troop also deals 20% of the smite damage as fixed true damage to up to 2 enemy troops in a fan. This effect can be triggered only up to 1 time per second. Actually, they actually explain what fixed true damage is. In addition to ignoring the attacking troops' attack and the defending troops' defense, fixed true damage calculation is also not affected by the buffs. Hold on, what is that? Hey, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, the fixed true damage calculation is also not affected by buff or debuff effects. Okay, so I'm not sure if that's good or bad, to be honest, because when you're attacking someone, you would want to actually multiply it with as much attack as possible, right? But also the fact that you're able to ignore the defense of the enemy is also very, very busted. But does not get affected by any buffs or debuff effects. I guess that I'm not sure. I think that proportion of true damage amount that you actually do, you really need to take a look at it in the game, or someone has to do the calculation. I just got here, guys. I just got here, so I'm not sure if I can do that. But I think this is right now without expertise. This is 3000 damage factor damage output skill with on top of doing 600 times 2 extra damage factor. So this is more of a 4200 damage factor skill. Just to give you a little bit of perspective of how that compares to other commanders, I think that is probably about the same amount of damage that you will be able to do with Arthur Achilles in total. Because Arthur Achilles does 2000 damage factor up to 5 target. That's like what, 4000 damage factor? So this guy has higher damage factor than him. But on top of that, no, yeah. But on top of that, this guy has 100 less rage requirement, which means that 4600 damage factor ish, even without expertise. And we already know that the expertise would actually make that go all the way up to what? So 900, 900, 4800, 4800 times 1.11111. Yeah, 54, no, 50, 5600? No, 50, no, 54. No. What am I saying? No, 5200, 5200, 5300 damage factor total, which is actually really, really busted in terms of the DPS perspective. The only downside of this is, again, we're not 100% sure how much true damage will work, whether that was going to be like better than having smite, whether that's going to be worse than having smite. It certainly does not help that it does not get buffed by the fact that buffed by the smite damage factor that you'll be able to get from Pisser and Pisser 2.0. So that is so questionable. That's the only part that is questionable about this kid. But overall, I think from the first look of it, in terms of DPS perspective and DPS perspective only, I think this skill is busted, especially when it gets expertise. But let's just go ahead and take a look at the rest of his kit, because that's what we actually need to take a look at. War for Peace. Okay, infantry units gain 25% march speed. If this commander is a field troop, which means it's non-rallied or non-garrison, you get extra 20% health, 30% attack. So you get 50% stats total, 25% march speed. 25% march speed, isn't that the fastest that we've seen in terms of the buff? Very strong skill, I would say, in general. Okay, well, let's just go and take a look at the other skills. So Prize Strike. If this commander is a field troop, infantry units gain 20% defense. If military stage effect is active, okay, so military stage effect that lasts for 5 seconds after using active skill. This has actually effects to the third skill. Okay. This commander's troop deals 10% more smite damage. Okay. Has 50% chance of instant smite damage for every basic attack. Wait, what? So you not only gain extra 20% defense, if military stage effect is active, it not only deals 10% more smite damage to the secondary, so whoever you pair him with, let's say Bai Chu or Liu Xie, is not only going to do 10% more damage, but you have 50% chance of dealing extra smite damage for every basic attack for 400 damage factor. This effect can be triggered up to once every 3 seconds. Okay. So this is a 400 damage factor with 50% chance. So within 5 seconds, you're most likely going to be able to proc power only once, because once or twice. And this effect can only be triggered up to once in every 3 seconds. So because of that cooldown, I think it can only be triggered up to 2 times. Whether you can actually trigger it 2 times or 1 time, I think that's about like 50-50, I would say. I have to do the math. I don't know. So this is 800 damage factor instant proc every skill cycle, it looks like. A very powerful skill, I would say. Very powerful skill. Yeah. This is basically like having Philip's skill, but with smite damage and can trigger up to twice per skill cycle. Now it's not as good as the Philip skill because it's not really proccing like without that much of a. The Philip skill is more versatile. It's more unconditional, but very, very strong skill, I would say. A lot of stats, by the way. Overall, you get what, 70% stats overall? Yeah, that is a lot. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at his 4 skill. This commander's troop takes 10% less damage. 10% less damage is always good. Guys, you get an extra rage too, despite the fact that you're only requiring 900 rage. Okay, that's kind of busted. Gains extra 20 rage for every 1 enemy troop that takes true fixed damage from the military stage. Okay, so this is basically like what Sun Tzu has. Yeah, that's a lot of rage, guys. That's a lot of rage. So practically speaking, the rage requirement for this command is practically only for 860, because whenever you use an active skill, you're gonna hit 3 targets, and it is very easy for you to hit 3 targets, right? So you're gonna get a lot of rage on top of you requiring less rage. Oh, okay. Okay, I see. It has 100% chance to deal 2% more damage for the next 5 seconds. Whenever gaining the rage effect, gaining rage from this effect. Okay. This effect can stack up to 5 times. Hold on. You have 100% chance to deal 2% more damage for the next 5 seconds whenever gaining rage from this. But can you only gain rage like 2 times? So you take 10% less chance, less damage. Gains 20%. Okay, so 2% more rage for next 5 seconds only, though. Huh. I wonder if you can actually stack this more than 4 times. Because you'll be hitting 2 targets. Wait, no, yeah, you'll be hitting 2 targets only with the active skill, no? Yeah, you're gonna only be able to trigger the active skill. So whenever dealing smite damage to enemy troops, this commander's troop also deals 20% of the smite damage. Oh, wait, you know what? That's where this skill comes in, right? The third skill actually can proc in between your stage effect so that you can actually proc this up to 5 times. Okay, so this actually can stack up to 10%. Got it. So you have 10% damage reduction, extra rage generated, and also at the same time have a chance to trigger this up to 10% all damage. Okay, so this is actually pretty good. Yeah, the stage effect might actually be a lot more busted than I think because of the surprise strike, and also at the same time, some commanders like Liu Che or Bai Chu also have some extra smite damage factor, right? I think Liu Che definitely does have one. He has one for combo. He has one for smite. So if you pair him up with Liu Che, I'm assuming is probably the best pairing right now. Huh. Wait, does Baichu have an instant proc smite damage? He does have instant proc smite damage. Okay, so Liu Chen Baichu. Most likely Baichu, but very, very strong skill. And then the expertise, like I said, it's basically the same skill as the first skill, but the damage factor of the military sage for fixed true damage actually goes up to 30%. I think that's the only thing that is changing. So the damage factor is not 4,200, but it's actually 4,800. Right, because it does 900 damage factor, 900 damage factor. That's 1,800 damage factor on top of 300 damage factor. Again, the fact that this actually only requires 900 rage could raise that DPS per 10-second skill cycle or whatever the skill cycle is up to 11.1%, which means that 4,800 plus another 4,800, so like what, 50 to 80 damage factor total. Once again, that is a lot more than what you will see from AoE skill of Achilles, which is the most recent release that does AoE. I think a lot of people might think that this is not as good of a skill because it does single target damage, but if you look at the total damage factor that it does, it actually does a lot of damage. Now, the only problem with this, again, is you can't really buff true damage. You can't really buff it with smite damage factor upgrades. So that is only kind of downside of this. We just got to see how that goes up. But looking like so far, it's looking like a very strong commander already. It's just my personal opinion. Yeah, if you guys have doubts about it, I think this commander is pretty busted. But let's just go ahead and move on to Ivar. The boneless. Okay, so this is the new infantry rally. I know that a lot of infantry rally and garrison leads were waiting to actually take a look at the new infantry commander. Now, does he work on the new meta? Can he push the Attila Subutai out of the meta at this very moment, or Attila Achilles nowadays, which is what cavalry rallies use? Because yeah, right now, if we're fighting against infantry, we use archers. If you're fighting against archers, we will do cavalry. If you're fighting against cavalry garrison, you actually don't really use that much of Scipio Aemilianus. But this commander must come in and step up the game because we don't really have double smite commanders and when it comes to rally and garrison meta, right? So let's just see what we have for Ivar. Now, Ivar, commander skill, Falcon's Judgment. Target type AoE. Yo, this skill is AoE damage? Okay. Rage required of 1,000 damage factor. Deals smite damage after 3 enemy troops in a fan. Does 2,500 damage factor. Every additional damage factor. Okay, so this is an AoE. 3 target AoE in a fan with 2,500 damage factor. And for next 3 seconds, you gain 15 extra rage per second. Okay, so you gain 45 extra rage after using active skill. That's nice. I don't know how I feel about the AoE in the fan though, because if you're a rally lead, right? I think as a rally lead, you want either one of the two things, right? You want either circular AoE because you want to make sure that all the swarmers will die instantly, or you want a really high damage factor single target damage, right? So the fact that this is a 2500 damage factor, smite damage factor in a fan is kind of a meh, I would say. But still a very strong commander. Still a very strong damage factor, I would say. Doesn't Scipio Milana's have like 2700 damage factor? Yeah, Scipio Milana's have 2700 damage factor. So the damage factor is a little lower end, but still does AoE. It's better than not having AoE at all with 2500 damage factor, I would say. So, but I would say slightly mid active skill. Slightly disappointing, I would say, for infantry rally leagues, in my opinion. But let's just go and keep reading through his setup. Okay, this commander's infantry units gain 10% health, 20% march speed, and 30% attack. This does not actually say anything about being a rally or garrison lead. So this commander maybe can be used as an AoE field commander, guys. Okay. Okay. So infantry is getting 2 additional field commanders. Well, if that's the case, maybe GG to William Wallace, guys. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the rest of his kit. Okay, there you go. When attacking cities or stronghold, this commander's troop deals 20% more smite damage. Okay, that is awesome. Infantry units in this commander's troop deals 10% more damage against cavalry units. Oh, okay. So directly countering cavalry garrisons, I think. This commander's troop has 50% chance to gain 30 extra rage when dealing smite damage. This effect can be triggered only once per second. Okay. There's a lot of commanders that does a lot of smite damage over time. Like Baichi does a lot of smite damage over time. Liu Xie does a lot of smite damage, instant proc smite damage over time. Sun Tzu does a lot of smite damage over time. So this rage generation can be very, very well spammed, in my opinion. Very nice kit, but it's only when you're rallying or garrisoning. And I don't know if Scipio has a smite damage factor. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm looking at his kit on my phone right now. Yeah, he doesn't have. Yeah, Scipio Milianus does not have an instant proc smite damage. So the fact that this is actually only for attacking cities and strongholds, and the fact that Scipio Milianus, which is the only pairing that we have for rallying garrisoning, that does not have this. This is kind of a meh, but it's basically only procable whenever you use active skill of Scipio Milianus and Ivar. So okay, interesting. And then the third skill, Odin's stratagem. Okay, if this commander is leading a rally attack, okay, so this commander is definitely only going to be used for rallying garrison because you guys can see that 2 skills are only for rallying and garrisoning. But let's see. If this commander is leading a rally attack, you get your army takes 10% less combo attack damage. There you go. That's a lot. If you combine that with airtight, that's going to be a lot. Okay, and deals an instance of smite damage to attacker whenever the rally arm is hit with basic attack. Okay, so you do basically double counterattack damage with smite damage factor of 200 because whenever you're doing a counterattack damage, you do a 200 damage factor. Every time you're hit with another person basically trying to swarm you, you do 200 damage factor back to the enemy, right? So this basically doubles that damage by 200 extra smite damage, which is kind of busted, I think. If this received attack is part of the combo attack, their rallied army gains 10% bonus to all damage for the next 3 seconds. Okay, so don't swarm this guy with combo damage commander, I guess. Okay, that is interesting. So if you're going against a combo garrison, definitely made so that this would actually counter against a combo garrison. 10% less damage on top of airtight is really, really good. And if combo attack damage commander like I don't know, David does 2 times, I think, of the damage factor. This guy would actually have 10% bonus to all damage for the next 3 seconds, and that can stack up to 7 times. This can go up to 70% bonus to all damage. Yo, do not swarm this guy with combo damage commander, guys. Do not swarm this guy with combo damage commanders. Like, don't swarm this with Arthur Achilles. You will just buff the heck out of this guy. This guy would just have up to 70% all damage. Yo, this is busted. This effect can only be triggered by 1 enemy troop per second. Okay. So this effect can be only triggered once by 1 enemy troop per second. What does that mean? Okay, so if you're getting Mega Swarm, that's when you can stack up to 7 times. Okay, got it. Still, yeah, don't, yeah, just use archers to swarm this guy, I guess. Yeah, use Shishiwang. Do not use Arthur Achilles like I do. Yeah, this is gonna absolutely make the garrison suffer a lot. This is gonna actually make the swarmers suffer a lot. Yeah, that's very, very busted. Very strong skill. Anti-swarm to its maximum peak, I would say. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this last skill. No, yeah, fourth skill. Destined for defense. Okay, this commander's troop takes 10% less normal damage. Okay, if remaining units are below 50%, then their troop takes additional 5% more normal damage. Okay, so not too exciting. But yeah, that's the expertise skill actually, not the fourth skill. But you know, extra buff. I think that the Odin stratagem is actually the one skill that is really, really busted. That makes this rally work. What do I think about Ivar overall? Okay, so he is a very anti-swarm heavy rally lead, I think. His damage factor is a little bit on the lower end, in my opinion. If you're fighting against combo attack damage commander, I think this is going to do a fantastic job because of that Odin stratagem skill is super, super busted. Super, super busted. So I think he's going to do well in rallies against cavalry garrisons, especially. Would it do better against archer garrison? I'm not too sure. I think because archer garrisons are kind of in a weird spot, I think this might still work against them. Because I think right now, like what Hera, no one's gonna use. Yeah, we don't really have two double true damage shielding commander garrison right now, and I think until we have another Hera pairing. No, not Hera. Though Choyong. Choyong. What am I talking about? Yeah. So right now the Archer Garrison meta is Choyong Hera. And until we get another pairing for Choyong that does a lot of true damage that counters smite damage specifically, I think it's gonna do well uh against the what's this called? The Archer Garrisons. I think it's gonna do fantastic against Gorgo, what's his name? Gorgo Tokugawa. Yeah. We right now, as at this very, very moment, I don't think we really have a good counter to Gorgo Tokugawa. But I think this is probably the rally that you want to use against Gorgo Tokugawa because cavalry can't do it. Archers are kind of mixed in terms of how much damage that they can do to each other. So yeah, if you have like equal level of rally lead that is, let's say, uh, comparable to the enemy infantry garrison, I think you can use this rally along with Scipio Aemilianus to counter the Gorgo Tokugawa. Right now, Gorgo Tokugawa is basically undefeatable in terms of trait ratio, unless you get the rally going with Archer with Shapura Shavelopol without getting swarmed at all. But this one has anti-swarm and it actually can perform against Gorgotoku, in my opinion. So yeah, this commander I think is good. This commander I think is good. The only downside is that active skill damage factor is a little lower, but I think it is good that we have. Okay, let's just go ahead and finish this off by taking a look at the skill damage effect that we got. Okay, fluid formation. This commander's troop deals damage factor of 900. Okay, rage requirement 900. Let's see how it looks. Okay. Wait, it procs multiple times. Hold on. How is it proccing multiple times? Oh, because whenever you do smite damage to enemy troops. So, hold on. So for while you have the military stage on, you can do extra 1800 damage factor every time you proc the smite damage. So the 1800 damage factor, however many times that you actually proc that, it can actually practically, theoretically proc 5 times over the course of that military stage active duration. This is actually busted then. That's 9,000 damage factor, guys. That's 9,000 damage factor. So this has a potential of damage factor of what, 12,000 damage factor? Yo, wait, hold on. Did we just get another Qin Shi Huang? I wasn't actually impressed with this kit initially, but yeah, I am seeing it proc multiple times. I mean, I think we gotta see this until I think we gotta see this in game, but it looks like it proc 3 times in this duration of like quick 9-second video. After using his active skill, this guy procs it once, procs it twice, procs it 3 times before using his active skill. Yo, what? You guys have no idea how busted that is. 1800 damage factor times 3. That is what? 5,400 damage factor. On top of doing 3,000 damage factor. Okay, yeah, this commander is busted. This commander is busted. I was not sure about it when I was reading his kit, but oh yeah, this commander is busted. What? Okay, let's read Ivar's active skill. Ooh, that looks pretty nice. That looks pretty nice. Falcon's Judgment. Not really as impressive, but yeah. Sun Tzu is busted, guys. Sun Tzu is busted. Oh my god, guys. Well, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Please take a look at his kit and let me know in the comment down below, guys, how you guys think about their kit. But I think it's totally busted. I didn't know it was gonna be able to proc like 3 times in his kit. And imagine, yeah, imagine that you have the Luch's like the instant proc actually ready to go when you're using his active skill. Yo, 12,000 damage factor potential. Okay, I am scared as a cavalry main at this point, guys. Uh yeah, I am definitely scared now. All right. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, guys. And whenever there's a new update, I'll go ahead and keep you guys updated. Yeah, I think this commander needs to be nerfed. If this commander truly does have like Shishiwan level of damage output that it can do. But let's see. Let's see how this goes. Personally, I think this is very, very busted. But yep. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And as always, guys, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.